This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Monday, May 5th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
A family party in Texas turns deadly. I'm Clayton Neville.
The U.S. Army has confirmed to the Associated Press there will be a military parade on June 14th. Jennifer King, Washington.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says he will meet Tuesday at the White House with President Trump. I'm Ed Donahue.
A small plane crashed into a neighborhood in Simi Valley near Los Angeles. I'm Julie Walker.
On Wall Street, the S&P 500 is on its longest winning streak in 20 years. On hope China and the U.S. will start some trade talks. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Tesla's sales plunged by more than half last month in several European countries. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Actor and comedian Russell Brand has been granted conditional bail by a London court. Lawrence Brooks, London.
All ahead on America in the Morning. President Trump sat down for a wide-ranging interview with NBC News. Correspondent Donna Warder reports.
In an interview with NBC's Meet the Press, host Kristen Welker asks President Donald Trump if all citizens and non-citizens in the U.S. deserve due process.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. Some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here.
When asked about making Canada the 51st state, Trump said it was highly unlikely that the U.S. would need to use military force. But he said that something could happen with Greenland. And Trump said he's not worried about a recession. I'm Donna Warder.
A party in Houston turns deadly and more than a dozen people injured when gunfire erupted over the weekend at a family party. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
A birthday party at a southeast Houston home was interrupted with gunfire. Reports of multiple fights breaking out, leading to gunshots after an uninvited guest wouldn't leave.
We have one that we know of that is deceased. We have multiple in critical condition in surgery.
Assistant Police Chief Patricia Cantu spoke to reporters after the shooting.
Calls were dropping at the 6,000 block of Cherry Hill of multiple shootings, multiple injuries. Officers arrived at the scene 3 minutes right after the call. As they were arriving, they were still hearing gunshots, and the scene was still very much active.
Multiple people were detained, no arrests and no suspects named, though, as of right now. I'm Clayton Neville.
President Trump says he's directing the government to reopen and expand Alcatraz, the notorious former prison on a hard-to-reach California island in San Francisco Bay. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote in part, quote, "For too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders, the dregs of society, who will never contribute anything other than misery and suffering. When we were a more serious nation in times past, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them far away from anyone they could harm. That's the way it's supposed to be," end quote. Trump added the reopening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. We will make America great again. The prison, infamously inescapable due to the strong ocean currents and cold Pacific waters that surround it, was known as the Rock and housed some of the nation's most notorious criminals, including gangsters Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. It ceased operation in 1963. A decade later, it opened to the public as part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. When we return on America in the Morning, plans for D.C.'s military parade after these messages. This is America in the Morning. AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy is tracking several storms moving across the country.
There are two very slow-moving storm systems across the nation as we start the first full week of May. One of these systems is centered over the Ohio Valley, and from that there will be some scattered showers on the northern and western side of the system from Michigan into eastern Wisconsin and southward through much of Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. Showers and thunderstorms will be heavier and more widespread on the eastern side of the storm through eastern North Carolina, northward through Virginia into Pennsylvania, and some of which could be strong to severe, producing damaging winds and small hail. Steadier rain will also continue continue along the coast from New Jersey through southern New England. Rainfall in these areas can be heavy at times and lead to localized flooding. There's another system in the southwest over the Four Corners region of the country, which will produce some widespread showers as far north as Wyoming through Utah into Arizona and New Mexico and even Colorado. As this storm moves into the southern plains a little later this afternoon, a few strong to severe thunderstorms will develop in parts of West Texas into eastern Colorado and western Kansas. These storms will have the potential for flash flooding, damaging winds, hail, and even a tornado. This system will progress into a steadier rain tonight, while showers and thunderstorms continue to build through parts of Texas into Oklahoma. Another system will move southward from Canada, causing some rain through parts of Montana and even snow in the northern Rockies, and this will eventually feed into that southern system tonight. The rest of the plain states and much of the southeast will be dry today with some sunshine. That's the weather across America. Madison, Wisconsin will have mainly cloudy skies with a cool afternoon and a high around 60. Richmond, Virginia will also have plenty of clouds with a few showers and a thunderstorm or two and a high of 79. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. The Pentagon has confirmed plans to hold a military parade in D.C. this summer. Correspondent Jennifer King is following preparations.
The U.S. Army has confirmed to the Associated Press there will be a military parade on June 14th, President Donald Trump's 79th birthday, which also happens to be the Army's 250th birthday. It commemorates the 1775 authorization of companies of riflemen by the Continental Congress. The plan calls for about 6,600 soldiers to march from Arlington, Virginia to the National Mall, along with 150 vehicles and 50 helicopters. In a statement Friday, Army spokesman Steve Warren said the birthday celebration will include a spectacular fireworks display, the parade, and a day-long festival on the National Mall. Plans obtained by the AP say the procession will include Stryker vehicles, 2 companies of tanks, Bradley and Paladin artillery vehicles, and howitzers, with the heavier vehicles joining the procession near the Lincoln Memorial. President Trump has long wanted a military parade, although he canceled a similar proposal in 2018 over costs. Discussions with the Pentagon began less than 2 months ago. Jennifer King, Washington.
President Trump is scheduled to hold new trade talks with Canada's newly elected Prime Minister. Details from Correspondent Ed Donahue.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says he will meet Tuesday at the White House with President Trump. Carney says Canadians elected a new government to stand up to President Trump.
Our old relationship, based on steadily increasing integration, is over.
Canada is one of the many targets of the president's tariffs.
Why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year? Why are we subsidizing Mexico for $300 billion a year? There's no reason for it.
Carney's expectations?
Constructive, difficult, but constructive discussions.
President Trump has spoken repeatedly about making Canada part of the U.S.
Canada should honestly become our 51st state.
What the Canadian people clearly have stated, virtually without exception, is this will never, ever happen.
The president mocked Carney's predecessor, Justin Trudeau, by calling him Governor Trudeau. He hasn't trolled Carney. I'm Ed Donahue.
A deadly plane crash in the Los Angeles area also damaged several homes. Correspondent Julie Walker has the latest.
A small plane crashed into a neighborhood in Simi Valley near Los Angeles, killing 2 people and a dog aboard the aircraft and damaging 2 homes, according to authorities. Wreckage could be seen between the 2 homes. The Ventura County Fire Department confirms that residents were inside at the time, but said they evacuated with no reports of injuries. Both homes sustained structural damage and were impacted by fire. Authorities say the small plane was a single-engine Vans RV-10, which is a popular home-built plane sold in a kit. The NTSB is investigating. I'm Julie Walker.
A winning streak on Wall Street. That ahead when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. The Business Report is brought to you by Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, always putting clients' interests first. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. With the Monday Report, here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after the S&P 500 index notched its longest winning streak in 20 years on Friday at 9 straight days. The Dow with 9 in a row, too, its longest since December of 2023. Investors sent stocks higher, grabbing onto reports China may want fentanyl talks, which may mean trade talks.
Confirms two of the oldest sayings in Wall Street: don't try to time the market. And there is a lot of value to diversifying your portfolio. The S&P is still down in the U.S. year to date. Europe is up 15%. Diversification pays. Trying to time the market is a fool's errand. Traders expect a big pullback from the tariff position that Trump now maintains.
Wharton professor Jeremy Siegel on CNBC. Here's the Carson Group's Ryan Dietrich on CNBC.
We've had a 19% near bear market, but we have corrected more than 50% of that near bear market. When I went back in history, when you have these near bear markets like we just did, once you correct 50%, only once have we rolled back over to make new lows. And as everybody knows, that was in 2022.
Chinese e-tailer Temu halted shipping items directly to U.S. shoppers after a key tariff threshold for tariffs ended. The exemption is gone now for items coming into the U.S. worth $800 or less. Employers added more new jobs in April than expected at 177,000. The unemployment rate holding steady at 4.2%.
Federal workers down by 9,000. That's something that we think is going to come down. A lot of these folks were given severance pay so they don't qualify. Plus, some of the courts put the jobs back. Warehousing and transportation up by 29,000. It could have been they were hiring lots of folks in order to handle all the stuff that was coming in ahead of time. Look, embrace it, love it. It's better than expected, but there are things in here that make you wonder, can they last?
That's CNBC senior economics reporter Steve Leisman. Fortnite back on Apple iPhones and iPads for the first time in 5 years. A federal judge found that Apple willfully violated an injunction to prohibit anti-competitive conduct and pricing. Vodka lemonade, the drink of the summer 2025. As major beverage companies jump into the category, Vine Pair and Morning Brew note that Surfside released a version 3 years ago and sales exploded. Now Anheuser-Busch is out with Skimmers. Boston Beer Company has Sun Cruise, and the Gallo Wine Company makes Lucky One brand vodka spiked flavored teas and lemonade. On today's watch list, we get earnings from On Semi, Tyson Foods, Ford, Mattel, Hims and Hers, and Palantir. McDonald's with McCrispy chicken strips on menus today, its first permanent menu item in 4 years.
Thank you, CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. Elon Musk has his work cut out for him to revive slumping Tesla sales in much of Europe. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
Tesla's sales plunged by more than half last month in several European countries. Sales collapsed in April by more than 2/3 from the previous year in Sweden, the Netherlands, and Denmark, and are down more than 1/3 in other countries as Tesla reels from protests and boycotts over Elon Musk's political activities. Other factors suppressing sales include Tesla's aging model lineup and new offerings from competitors. Tesla also had to shut down factories for several weeks this year while upgrading its best-selling Model Y sports utility vehicle, which tightened supply. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
When we return on America in the Morning, A-list actor in court on sexual assault charges. That and more after these messages. You're with America in the Morning. A prominent pastor was notified that books loaned to the National African American Museum may be returned. Correspondent Walter Ratliff explains.
Reverend Amos C. Brown, a prominent pastor and veteran of the civil rights movement, had loaned 2 books to the Smithsonian's African American Museum. They've been on display for more than a decade. Now, he says he was told the items are under review over whether they should remain on display. The news comes after President Donald Trump signed an executive order calling for the Smithsonian to eliminate improper ideology in some exhibits that the administration views as divisive. I'm Walter Ratliff.
Actor Russell Brand made his first appearance in a UK court, part of his trial on sexual assault charges. Correspondent Lawrence Brooks reports.
Actor and comedian Russell Brand has been granted conditional bail by a London court after appearing to face charges of rape and sexual assault involving 4 women. The 49-year-old did not enter a plea but has previously denied the allegations made against him. He was swarmed by photographers as he arrived at Westminster Magistrates Court. It was his first hearing since he was charged last month with 1 count each of rape, indecent assault and oral rape, as well as 2 counts of sexual assault. The alleged offences took place between 1999 and 2005. Brand was told to present himself at the Old Bailey in central London on May 30th and was granted bail on condition he keeps the court informed of where he's staying. He currently lives in Florida but is obliged to attend all future court appearances. If he doesn't abide by the conditions, he faces being remanded in custody. Lawrence Brooks, London.
America in the Morning for Monday, May 5th, 2025, Cinco de Mayo, is produced by Alexander Hinton. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour,
President Trump says he won't commit to due process for immigrants in the country illegally. I'm John Stolness in Washington.
School choice signed into law in Texas. I'm Clayton Neville.
The family connection in Cincinnati between an officer-involved shooting Thursday and the death of a sheriff's deputy on Friday. I'm Rich Johnson.
Legendary Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett at the end of his annual shareholders meeting announcing retirement plans. I'm Julie Walker.
Major flight delays could be caused by outdated computers. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
Back after these messages. America in the Morning continues with a look at the national forecast today. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
There are 2 very slow-moving storm systems across the nation as we start our work week. One of these systems is over the southwest in the Four Corners region of the country, which is going to produce widespread showers as far north as Wyoming, southward through Utah into Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. Then as this system migrates into the southern plains later this afternoon, a few strong to severe thunderstorms will develop in parts of West Texas and eastern Colorado and western Kansas. These storms will have the potential for flash flooding, damaging winds, hail, and even a tornado. And this area will transition into a steadier rain tonight while gusty showers and thunderstorms continue to build through parts of Texas and Oklahoma. A weak storm will move southward from Canada, causing some rain through parts of Montana and even snow in the northern Rockies. And this will eventually get wrapped up into the southwest storm later tonight. The other slow-moving system is over the Ohio Valley, and this is going to produce some scattered showers on the northern western side of the system from Michigan through eastern Wisconsin and then southward through much of Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. But showers and thunderstorms will be heavier and more widespread on the eastern side of the storm through eastern North Carolina, northward through Virginia into Pennsylvania, some of which could be strong to severe, producing damaging winds and small hail. We'll have steadier rain also continuing along the coast from New Jersey into southern New England, and rainfall in these areas could be heavy enough to cause some localized flooding. Most of the plain states and much of the southeast will be dry today with some sunshine. Highs will be mostly in the 70s and 80s. And the west coast will also be largely dry with highs in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, though Southern California could still have plenty of clouds and a few showers from the southwest storm. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Remember, you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. In a wide-ranging interview on NBC's Meet the Press Sunday, President Trump said he's not sure if the Constitution ensures due process for both citizens and non-citizens. John Stolness has more from Washington.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
NBC's Kristen Welker with the president, noting assurances laid out in the Constitution.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It seems It might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials.
Trump was also asked about the possibility of annexing Canada as the 51st state and the possibility of military action against them or Greenland.
Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need that for national and international security.
But not
I
with
think
Canada?
It's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
Welker also asked Trump about comments he made at a cabinet meeting last week regarding whether a trade war with China could mean a reduction in supply and an increase in prices for everyday goods.
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls. Because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
And while the president says he does not believe a recession is coming, he was asked if he's willing for the country to go through one if it ultimately achieves his long-term economic goals.
Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
Are you worried about a recession?
No.
President Trump also claims it's not fair to judge him on certain aspects of the economy just yet.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now. And I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy.
Trump also played down the possibility of a third term, saying it's not something he's looking to do. He did say Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is totally safe in the wake of the Signalgate controversy and that another TikTok deadline extension could be coming soon. John Stolnis, Washington.
The governor of Texas is touting what he calls the largest one-day launch of school choice in the country. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
It was Governor Abbott's top priority when lawmakers convened for the legislative session earlier this year. Over the weekend, the state's first school voucher program was signed into law. The governor called it
the culmination of a movement that has swept across our state and across our country. A movement driven by parents.
The program allows Texas families to use state money to send their kids to private school. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick was on hand with other state and federal leaders for the weekend signing at the governor's mansion.
You cannot live the American dream if you don't have a quality education. And today is the day that not only do we give, as the governor said, the largest launch of any program ever, 100,000 students the opportunity, but we are going to make through school choice public schools even more competitive and better. It's not about us against them or them against us. All together, we want the best public school system, the highest paid teachers, and the best school choice program in the world.
The program will be capped at 100,000 participants, and it will initially have a $1 billion budget. Under the law, kids admitted into the program will get $10,000 a year for tuition. While millions of Texas students are technically eligible, there are limited spots. Students with disabilities whose family's household income is at or below 500% of the federal poverty line will get the highest priority level and could receive up to $30,000 a year. I'm Clayton Neville.
There's sorrow and many questions remain in Cincinnati after police fatally shoot a young man. Correspondent Rich Johnson reports the young man's father is accused of killing a sheriff's deputy the next day.
On Thursday, a Cincinnati police officer fatally shot 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. Police body camera footage shows Hinton running from a car with others, police yelling that he had a gun, and the officer firing. Police did recover a gun near Hinton's body, but it's unclear on the video whether he pointed it at any officer. On Friday morning, Hinton's family watched the body cam video. Family attorney Michael Wright describes that scene.
Everybody had a reaction of disbelief and sorrow and shock.
Wright's comment courtesy of WCPO-TV. But the shock was just beginning, as later on Friday, someone in a car drove up to a Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy who was directing traffic outside the University of Cincinnati's graduation ceremony. Prosecutor Ryan Nelson described the alleged actions of the driver of that car, Hinton's father, 38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr.
The defendant stopped his car. The defendant, in a way that was calculated and premeditated, lined up his car, deliberately accelerated his car, and purposely caused the death of an on-duty deputy sheriff.
The deputy's been identified as Larry Henderson, who had recently retired from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department.
I understand there is a lot of sadness and a lot of anger in this room right now.
An unidentified public defender who represented the elder Hinton at Saturday's court appearance. He's being held without bond and is scheduled to make his second court appearance tomorrow. There's no information to suggest that Deputy Henderson had anything to do with the shooting involving the younger Hinton. Cincinnati's police chief is asking for calm as both investigations play out. I'm Rich Johnson.
When we return on America in the Morning, future plans for the Oracle of Omaha and travel delays for flyers blamed on air traffic control. Those stories and more after these messages. You're with America in the Morning. I'm John Trout. President Trump has unveiled his 2026 budget proposal. Correspondent Sagar Meghani takes a look.
President Trump's 2026 budget proposal calls for sharp spending cuts and a sweeping restructuring of the nation's domestic priorities. The blueprint hopes to slash spending on many government programs, if not zero them out entirely. Steep cuts for childcare, disease research, renewable energy, and overseas peacekeeping. A nearly 23% cut in domestic spending. Much of that's already underway through Elon Musk's Doge effort. At the same time, the administration wants Congress to unleash $375 billion in new money for the Homeland Security and Defense Departments as part of the president's mass deportations agenda. That would rely on Congress passing his so-called Big Beautiful Bill of tax and spending cuts. Former Senate GOP Chief Mitch McConnell calls that a gimmick. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Investment guru Warren Buffett makes a surprise announcement during his company's annual shareholder meeting. With the billionaire's future plans, here's correspondent Julie Walker.
Legendary Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett at the end of his annual shareholders meeting announcing retirement plans.
At year end, Greg would be the chief executive or officer of Berkshire, and I would still hang around.
Greg Abel has been Buffett's successor for years. Before that announcement, the 94-year-old used the CNBC broadcast to address shareholders' questions, including about President Trump's tariffs.
Trade should not be a weapon.
Instead, he says,
in the United States, we should be looking to trade with the rest of the world, and we should do what we do best, and they should do what they do best.
Buffett also vowing not to sell any of his Berkshire shares, saying he thinks they will increase under Abel. I'm Julie Walker.
An Olympic track medalist is charged in Florida with punching a woman, a hurdler, who also competed in the Olympics. A Broward County Sheriff's Office arrest report says that Fred Curley, age 29, allegedly hit Alicia Johnson with a closed fist at a hotel near Fort Lauderdale on Thursday. Curley is charged with misdemeanor battery in the incident that left Johnson with a bloody nose. Curley won a silver medal in the 100-meter race at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo and a bronze medal in the same event at the Paris Olympic Games in 2024, where Johnson also competed. The arrest report says they previously had a relationship and got into a heated argument at the Florida hotel where they were staying before a track meet in the area. Curley's attorney, Richard Cooper, says his client has a target on his back that leads to unfounded allegations by fierce and sometimes jealous competitors. It's not Curley's first brush with the law. This comes just a few months after he was arrested for allegedly punching a Miami Beach police officer January 2nd, an incident in which police used a taser on him. He was also charged in May with domestic battery against his wife, according to court records. His lawyers say he's innocent of those charges as well. America in the Morning continues. Prince Harry has lost his appeal to restore his UK government-funded security detail. Correspondent Lawrence Brooks reports.
Prince Harry has lost his appeal challenging the UK government's decision to strip him of his publicly funded security after he stepped away from royal duties and moved to the US. The Court of Appeal ruled unanimously that a committee hadn't treated Harry unfairly when it decided to review his protection on a case-by-case basis each time he visits the UK.
The decisions taken in the decision letter and subsequently were taken, I said in my judgment, as an understandable and perhaps predictable reaction to the Duke of Sussex having stepped back from royal duties and having left the UK to live principally overseas.
The ruling upholds a High Court judge's decision last year which found that a bespoke plan for the Duke of Sussex's security wasn't unlawful, irrational or unjustified. Justice Geoffrey Voss acknowledged that the Duke of Sussex felt badly treated and said his lawyer had made strong arguments on his behalf. It's not immediately clear if Harry will try to appeal to the UK Supreme Court. Lawrence Brooks, London.
Air traffic control systems may be the cause of travel delays this past week, but the good news is they should be getting upgrades soon. Here's Chuck Palm with that in today's Tech Report.
Antiquated computer systems may be the cause of major delays and outages at the FAA. According to an article on CNN, multiple accumulating factors seem to have caused these massive delays, especially at Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey, where a walk-off by air traffic controllers this week, a nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers, and runway closures at the airport, but most importantly, technology failures that have been caused by outdated equipment. Scott Kirby, United Airlines CEO, said that the airport's issues seem to stem in part from technology failures, saying that the technology that the FAA relies on to manage flights coming in and out of Newark Airport frequently failed, resulting in dozens of diverted flights and hundreds of delayed and canceled flights. And Kirby added, worst of all, thousands of customers with disrupted travel plans. Trump's Transportation Secretary Duffy said that they have pledged to implement a new state-of-the-art system of air traffic control facilities across the country, but might take 3 to 4 years. You can find me at chuckpalm.com.
Here's your Monday check of sports with America in the Morning's Robert Workman.
The final game of the first round of this year's Stanley Cup playoffs was the 200th Game 7 in the NHL and became the 50th to go overtime. In fact, double OT. As in the West, the Jets rallied from down 2 goals in the final 2 minutes to upend the Blues 4-3 in Winnipeg. The Jets pulled their goalie with 3 minutes to play, and it paid off with goals by Vladislav Namestnikov just inside the 2-minute mark and Cole Perfetti's second of the night, beating the buzzer by 3 seconds. Then in the second overtime period, Adam Lowry put home the winner, and the Jets advanced to the next round. In the NBA playoffs on Sunday, a first-round Game 7 and a Game 1 in the conference semifinals. Out west, the 7th-seed Warriors upset the 2-seed Rockets 103-89, taking the decisive game in Houston. Buddy Hield hit 9 3-pointers and finished with 33 points. In the East semifinals, the Pacers snatched Game 1 from the Cavaliers in Cleveland 121-112. Tyrese Halliburton had 22 points, 13 assists, and blocked 3 shots. He has been revitalized since a players poll last month named him the most overrated player in the association. Baseball Sunday, the Padres shut out the Pirates 4-0. Their 5th straight win. Stephen Kolek got the victory in his first big league start, combining with 4 relievers on an 8-hitter. San Diego Hurlers have thrown 8 shutouts this season. Brewers blanked the Cubs 4-0. Freddie Peralta and the Dreamers with a combo 5-hitter. Braves held off the Dodgers 4-3 last night. Austin Riley hit 2-run taters, his first 2 times to the plate. Royals overpowered the Orioles 11-6, hitting a club record 7 home runs. Manager Matt Quattraro.
The guys continue to work and believe and trust each other and trust the hitting guys, and a day like that is really satisfying, and they should be rewarded for it.
Tigers trampled the Angels 13-1. Trey Sweeney homered and drove in 6. Kerry Carpenter went deep and knocked in 5. Cardinals took 2 from the Mets. Wins for the Diamondbacks, Rangers, Giants, Guardians, Twins, A's, Rays, Nationals, and White Sox. That's Monday Sports.
Huge concert thwarted bomb plot. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. Here with America in the Morning. Singer Lady Gaga held a free concert in Brazil that drew millions of attendees. Correspondent Donna Warder reports that the concert almost ended in tragedy.
They sang along. And they showed their love. Some 2 million people poured onto Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro Saturday night for the biggest show of Lady Gaga's career, and it was free. Fans like Victor Almeida weren't disappointed.
Gaga, we love you. We've been waiting for many years. We're not devastated anymore. We love you!
But police in Brazil now say that just hours before the concert, they arrested 2 people they believe are connected to a thwarted plot to detonate explosives at the concert. Police said nothing about the suspected plot at the time to avoid panic, and a spokesperson for Lady Gaga says she and her team only learned about the alleged threat from media reports Sunday morning. Security was tight at Saturday's concert, with 5,200 military and police officers deployed to the beach. I'm Donna Warder.
Superheroes are back atop the summer box office. Correspondent Kevin Carr has details.
Marvel stormed the box office this weekend to kick off the summer movie season.
Avengers, you're gone. No one is coming to save the day.
We could be the people that are coming.
Thunderbolts easily topped the list, earning $76 million for the first weekend in May.
Look at you. So adorable.
This is a far cry from the $150 to $200 million plus openings of Marvel's biggest films.
That's not good.
Though this does top some of the weaker releases like Eternals and The Marvels.
This team can be the heroes on the Wheaties box.
However, with good reviews and decent word of mouth, Thunderbolts may just have some staying power before Fantastic Four, First Steps, and DC's Superman come out later this summer.
I ain't ever seen no demons, no magic. Till now.
In second place was Ryan Coogler's vampire juggernaut Sinners, showing another impressive hold by dropping only 28% to bring in $33 million.
Listen here. This ain't no house party.
This is becoming one of the most impressive box office runs of the year.
Chicken jockey.
A Minecraft movie slid into third place with $14 million, getting within striking distance of $900 million worldwide.
That make you nervous?
Last week's newcomer, The Accountant 2, took a deduction to bring in $9.5 million for fourth place.
Every night, something new is trying to kill us.
And finally, holding on to fifth place was the gory thriller Until Dawn with $3.8 million. I'm Kevin Carr.
That's our show for today, Monday, May 5th, 2025, Cinco de Mayo. Our program is produced by Alexander Henson. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.